Hello, my name is Richie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I make bookish videos every week. You should definitely consider hitting that subscribe button if you're interested in that bookish content. And today I'm super excited to be talking to you guys about my least favorite books I read in 2017. So we're gonna do that cute little disclaimer thing. If any of these books are your favorites, and it's very possible there are some on here that are your favorites, I mean no offense to you, even if I say they're horrible or awful, that's just my opinion of these books. That does not affect what I think of you. My opinion, not your opinion. My opinion shouldn't affect your opinion. So don't hate me, don't get mad at me, don't come for me in the comments. We can have great discussions about why we have differing opinions in the comments, that's fine, but just don't be mean, because I'm not being mean to you by saying these books are horrible. They just, in my opinion, and for me and for the time I read them, were not great. Okay, let's get into it. First one I have for you today is James Steele. This is so many people's favorite book. I listened to the audiobook, so I don't know if that played a huge role in it, but basically this is the story of a girl who goes off to an estate. I don't know why I'm describing it for you. It's a Jane Eyre retelling. There's a reveal in the end, and it doesn't put people of color in a good light, and I didn't like that. I just felt very uncomfortable with the way it was handled. I also just was super bored, and so many people talk about this book so highly as a feminist book because our main character kind of murders people. She's just like badass because she does that. I just don't necessarily find her badass because she does that. I didn't find her love story engaging. I didn't like it at all. I'm sorry. Okay, next up we have Girlboss. Shouldn't have read it, should have known better, but this book, oh, I had so many issues with it because it just kind of down talks mental illness and taking medication and seeking help for that. And I don't like how that was portrayed. I also just found the book in general to be kind of boring, not that informative or helpful, and not that inspiring. Next up we have The Call. If I had to give any of these like a sliver of credit, it's this one. I was kind of intrigued, interested. There's nothing super problematic within this book. I just was bored. I didn't really like it. Our main character is disabled. I have not read any disabled own voices reviews for this, so I don't know how that portrayal was. Just found this book to be boring and predictable. Actually listened to half or 3/4 of the audiobook before I realized I had no idea what was going on, and I had to start over at the beginning. That's not a good sign. Next up, we have another nonfiction book. This is The Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. Hooey! This book was so sexist. Ugh. It just upset me so much. Also, the tips were super repetitive, and he wasn't really teaching you how not to give an F. He was more teaching you how to prioritize what you care about, which I feel like this entire book could have been summed up in one sentence. Next up, we have The Edge of Everything. This was by Jeff Giles. This is the first book in his series, and this was the most predictable thing I've read in so long. Insta-love, awkward love stories, predictable stories. It just didn't feel all of that exciting when it was hyped up to be like this exciting, epic story. Next up we have The Wrath in the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. My gosh, was this boring. Also, this was such a spot-on retelling of 1001 Nights that if you know anything about that story, what's the point? They're just telling it to you again. I just didn't understand, again, the point of this. The writing was fine. It was mainly the characters. I felt like the shift to a love story was super forced, super fast. Next up, possibly one of the most controversial books on this list, and that is Clockwork Princess. Holy shit, was this bad. I thought I was gonna love this book, not just because so many people love this book, but because I really liked Clockwork Prince. That epilogue though. Ugh. Everyone cries at the epilogue. Everyone loves the epilogue. The epilogue, I think, is so damaging to girls who are trying to figure out what love means and how it's important to you. I think it was so poorly done. I think it was a cop-out, horrible ending. I've come to the realization that I just hate Cassandra Clare endings. Next up, we have The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. This was one of the first books I read this year, only because I started it in 2016 and it took me so long to read. I just thought I was going to love this because I normally love prequels, but I found this to be super damaging to Selena's characterization, which in my opinion is already not that great. I don't love her, but this really took her down a peg. I found her to be super wildly obnoxious, such a brat. The last story was supposed to be the heart-wrenching, wonderful story with Sam. I thought Sam deserved way better than this chick. He was fine. He wasn't great, but he was fine. She treated him so horribly. I could not understand how that was their love story. I just don't think Sarah J. Maas is for me. Coming in at number 2 is Salem's Lot by Stephen King. If you don't know, I was a co-host for Spooktober this year, and this was our group book. Super boring, super pretentious, super not great with the female characters, based on Dracula. There was basically nothing happening. It was non-eventful at all, and I just really didn't like it. Didn't care for it. It put a bad taste in my mouth for Stephen King, so if I ever give him another chance, hopefully his next book I read is much better than this one. Coming in at number 1 is the worst book I read in 2017. Any guesses? Any guesses? If you have a guess, comment down below. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready? Are we ready? It's A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. So a lot of my complaints for these books have been just that they were boring. This book, not necessarily boring, just horrifying. Both the main characters and love interests in this book are awful. I don't know how you're supposed to like them. The family dynamics in this book were horrifying. The main character was so boring. Also, can I just say, throw this out there, this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and our protagonist can't read. How do you have a Beauty and the Beast retelling where the belle doesn't read the books? I know that's a weird thing to get caught up on. I'm done. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.
Baby, I beg you, yeah.